Okay, at some point while I was marking all of these, it occurred to me that I have never actually done a full-on mica swirl tumbler on camera. So a regular colors one over a white base is going to be in the works, but I really want to play with my interference powders today. So I'm going to do a swirl with them. I took the Peacock Series from Woody's Goodies. I took 8 of them. I left the golds out. I included the silver. So I'm going to grab 8 cups, and actually 9 for the base layer. So bear with me here. These are just coffee stir sticks I'm going to use to scoop rather than fold. But I'm just going to take like about that much of each color. And I'm going to sit them in the same order I have these cups sitting for now, just so I know which color went in which cup if I need more powder. But I'm going to do that with each one. And then I'm going to get these mixed up. This last cup I'm going to mix this obsidian resin pigment from Amazon into, because I'm going to start with a black base. So I'm just going to mix one quick. I'm going to put a tiny bit, 3 to 5 max in each of these cups. And I'm going to give them a mix, and they're all pretty much going to look white for you by the time they're done. But you do want your powders mixed in well. So I'm actually going to speed up this part because resin mixing is fairly boring. Okay, let's get some color on here. Let's see what happens. I'm going to start with a decent coat of this black. I also plugged in my heat gun while I was away for a second there. This is a 20-ounce thick from Flo, so this is a fairly large tumbler to potentially screw up. But the white micas, interference micas, whatever any given company calls them, only show up on black bases. You may get a hint of color when you're mixing them with other things on colored bases, typically only if they're like side by side or over top of a similar color. So I tend to like on my Milky Ways, if it's a blue Milky Way, I'll use an interference blue as a white. Just because at certain angles it will pick up that little bit. Now this is going on fairly thin. Like I said, it's a 20-ounce thick, so it's a lot of surface area, and I think I used probably about 15 mLs. Because I do want it somewhat runny, but I don't want it to all fall off the cup. So that is where I'm at with this. I'm not really going to do like the hatching technique or anything like that to apply these. I am going to take this glove off because while it doesn't look that dirty, it's dirty. And I don't want to end up with black in absolutely everything. So I'm going to grab a fresh glove because I am working with the resin and I don't want to touch it. My hands are still damp from where I wiped them off on a baby wipe on the last cup, so bear with me a second here. Sometimes it's hard to flip one glove in and one glove out. So I have all 8 of these colors mixed. I'm not really going to pay attention to the order they go on. I am hoping that all of the white doesn't sink. I used that particular pigment because it's translucent and it's a little bit whiter, lighter, not whiter. That hopefully my colors won't completely disappear. So I'm just going to work my way through the cups. I'm going to try and get some where it'll drip down the bottom. And these aren't going to be like super, super vibrant like a regular mica flow would be. They're going to be much more subtle. And they should be pretty shimmery when all is said and done. Some of them I'm going to put on thicker bits. But you can see how the color's popping out now already. That's why they have to go on a black base, because you wouldn't know that's a green otherwise. I'll put a big swirl of whatever color this one is. I believe this was the other green. Nope, that's another pinky purple. I was looking at a different band of the green. Trying to get some for the bottom. I think think this one's the silver based on where it's sitting on the table, so I'm going to leave that for last actually. Try and get just a little bit more to stay on the bottom there. I think this is the rose, so it's a paler pink. Alright, now I'm going to come over with the silver. And I may actually run some silver this direction. Okay, and I'm going to take what little bit is left in this black, which has hardly any color to it. I may add one more drop, 2 more drops, and mix that up quick. And see how that's just a translucent kind of black? I'm just going to also drizzle that right over the top. Okay. And I'm going to scoot all of these little cups out of the way. Doing one this way does kind of waste a little bit more materials, but not too bad. So I'm going to grab my heat gun. I don't have my... Oh, I found it. I'm going to go ahead and put my little end piece on, so maybe it'll diffuse it a little bit. This is a Furno 550 from Wagner. It has a couple of fan settings, and it has like 5 or 6 heat settings. So I'm going to use it on the highest fan setting, but I'm going to keep my heat relatively low because I'm finding that the CC DIY doesn't like a ton of heat. So I'm actually going to bring the heat all the way down. So because I'm running it on a lower heat, it might take a little bit longer to get some movement. And don't forget to hit the bottom a little bit. So I'm going to tilt it up while I'm heating it a little bit. You can see it's moving now. I don't really want to give it any more heat than that, so I'm actually going to hold it downward for a little bit and let some of that top resin push to the bottom again, drag itself down. I kind of like how some of it spreads. I've got bigger chunks of color and then I still have some of the finer, more defined lines. I think I'm going to let those stand as is. And there's still a little bit of black peeking through. But the bottom's got a little bit of swirl. So I think I am going to reverse the direction of the spin and just let it be. Sometimes it doesn't want it to change. There we go. So that is it. I will come back and show this to you when it is dry, or closer to dry anyways. And then at some point we'll figure out something to decal it with or whatever. But again, I like how some of it's big chunks of color and some of it's defined. I think it looks kind of cool like that. If I let it all get big and chunky, it's eventually all just going to mix together and be a mess. So there's a fine line, and that is where I'm stopping this one. I'll be back. Okay, so this is all dry, and I really like how it looks, but I really want to use another fish tattoo on it. And this is too dark for that, but I don't want to do another power wash or any of that. So I think I'm going to go over this section with a little bit of this super pale blue paint I have and give it that kind of paintbrush effect. It's just a super pale blue. But I think I'm going to mix the paint in a cup with a little bit of my cheat glitter just for a little added sparkle. So I'm just going to scoop a tiny bit of the paint into a measuring cup. I don't need much, so just that. And I'm just going to give it a little sprinkle of the glitter and mix it in. And I'm going to look at the paint and see if I can see the sparkle through yet. And I can't really, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more. I'm just going to add it in steps, a little bit at a time. I don't want the paint to get chunky, but I want to be able to see that little bit of shimmer through. And I think more of it might come through on the top, and I may even sprinkle a little across the top of the wet paint. I'm going to give it one more, just shaking it in. All right, whatever that is going to be good enough. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do the brush strokes with the, I'm actually going to do it so the decal will lay like with the cup. So what I'm going to do, if I can find a marker, is I'm actually going to, I already trimmed this down pretty well, so I'm going to lay it where I want it. And I'm going to mark a couple of spots with a Sharpie, just to give me the lay of the land where I want the brush strokes to end up. So I'm going to get this stir stick out of here real quick. I'm just going to grab a brush and I'm going to go ahead and brush it on. And I can clean up any extra paint. Yeah, the shimmer's not really showing through. It just kind of made it chunky paint. So I want the edges kind of unevened. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of hold this over again and make sure I think I'm good. I'm going to just, while it's wet, give it a little shimmer. And then I am going to let it dry. It's a very, very pale blue. So I think it'll blend okay with the rest of the cup. This paint dries pretty fast, so if you see spots you want to touch up sooner rather than later is better. I kind of want to drag this corner out a little bit. Kind of square, but like freeform square. So that's that. I'm gonna let it dry real quick and I will be back. Okay, I'm gonna try and go ahead and get the tattoo over this paint without a layer of epoxy or anything. Hopefully it'll work. Peel the protective sticker off. Lay it out. Get my damp rag and let it sit just for a second. Okay. See if it looks wet through yet. I'm squishing the tattoo, I think. Nope. Crap. Put it back on. Get it a little bit wetter. It is starting to stick, but I'm not 100% certain that it is going to stick well. You can see it's starting to move, so. So I should have sealed that, clearly. But I think it's salvageable if I smooth it out. Okay. I think it'll be all right. I do want to remove some of the excess paint from these edges, I think. And I may need to get some acetone, but I'm going to try just scrubbing it down. It's kind of why I didn't want to seal it. So that was a calculated risk, because I want to be able to kind of just stress it back in a little bit more. I did get this flower just a little bit off the edge. So there. I do still have a little bit of a wrinkle in this orange fish, so I'm going to try and smooth it backwards just a little bit. There. Alright, so I'm just going to let that dry out, and then I will get a layer of epoxy on it. I'll be back for that. Alright, so I already started, because I got a text message and it interrupted my video. I don't know why, it usually doesn't. But I had my clear resin mixed. I put a little bit of my cheat glitter in and mixed it in, and now I'm just giving this its clear coat. Sorry about that. And I don't know how far out it stopped, so I don't know if I'll even have anything to stitch back in. I'm just giving it a good thin coat. My camera keeps dropping, so I'm struggling, but I can't touch it right now because I have resin on both hands, so it is what it is. Once I get this coat on, I will give it a few minutes and then I will bring you down and show you how it looks, because this is going to be it for this one. And I am moving a little bit of that tattoo I see. I can feel it under my hand when it comes around, so I'm going to watch for that this next time around and see what the issue is, what part of it's moving. I think it's just a little piece of the tail, so I'm going to watch for it to come back again. And I'm actually going to stop it when that gets to top side. And see if I can correct it in any way. Let's see, now I can't even see where it was, so, because it's sitting over the lily pad, so it might have actually just been a piece of the water there. So I'm not going to worry about it. I know in the future not to just paint and apply the tattoo. Alright, I'm going to let it get going again. I think I'm fully covered, so I'm just watching it come around one last time. Bringing in a little bit more resin. And be very gentle over this time. I'm actually going to run this way down the tattoo this time. And that little piece is still floating around. I can't feel it unless it slides, so I think it'll be alright. But I'm going to let it be, let this spin for a little bit, and then I will come and show you how it looks. Okay, I'm going to show you what we've got. Doesn't look too bad. I like the way the orangey interference and the other colors play with the flowers and the fish. That was why I wanted to put this tattoo on this particular cup. So, next time I would try and lay out where I wanted my paint better and definitely seal it to make it easier to apply the tattoo. But I think all in all, I know it looks bumpy as it comes around, but it's actually not. I think that's just the light from the ring light. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good. So that is it for this one.